as we're going to be getting into our next series. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Babylon, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk. Ooh, it is Trigger. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have arguably the best Protoss player in the world representing CranKy Gaming. It is herO. Let's go. Let's go. Have another PvP for us. We were able to see herO versus Astra earlier, if you recall, and it was pretty dynamic overall. Both players were, even though herO did take the series 2-0, Astra did make him work for it, did throw a wrench in the works. We had a base trade, we had DTs, we had workers falling from both players. In the end, of course, herO did come out on top. We'll see what Trigger can bring to the table in terms of PvP, as herO is hyper aggressive in this matchup. I'm always bringing it back to herO versus Classic. I love casting herO versus Classic in the ESL Asias, in Kung Fu Cups, in KSLs as well. They are so wild. They are so willing to just get in the mud and get dirty with each other, as herO does immediately send a probe out on the map. He's looking to, it looks like he wants to throw down a pseudo proxy pylon here just to try to keep his second pylon hidden from his opponents for some mind games, just because this is so far out, but we shall see. As both players, oh never mind, as herO is going for a 2-gate opener, Trigger is going for a gate expand. Much more economic. Now what is interesting is that herO didn't probe scout. Like he focused a lot more on hiding his second pylon to make it look like he's going for an all-in, and now he's committing to an actual proxy? I'm curious. I'm very curious. herO, of course, with this opener is going to be the aggressor. Trigger is going to be the defender. He is looking for that pylon, and wow, he will come across it. Oh, never mind. Oh, no, he changed his rally. He was rallied to the corner here of this base, but no, he changes it instead. Trigger will not come across the pylon, so Trigger is still in the dark. For all he knows, he is being proxied. For all he knows, we do have something more committed from herO. Unfortunate from Trigger. He was poised to find it. He was poised to scout it. Back at home, he's getting ready defensively. We have a shield battery on the way. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a void ray as well, as herO is just going for a 2-gate opener into an expansion. Of course, herO is going to be behind economically. He's going to have a later base. Trigger is going to try and confirm though, and it looks like, oh, he's going to be denied. Stalker does kill the probe before Trigger can confirm anything in the natural. So again, he doesn't really know what is going on. Actually hasn't even made anything from this Stargate yet either. There we go, has opted to go for the Oracle. Meanwhile, herO is aware of what Trigger's been up to. He saw the Stargate earlier, and with these Stalkers dipping up into the natural, he's able to see the Oracle first on the way as well. So now herO has the information he needs. He should be throwing down a shield battery momentarily. He should be getting ready in his main base for that Oracle to come across the map. Yeah, so Trigger, because he still hasn't seen the natural base, he has a void ray on the way. He has a second shield battery as well. Like, Trigger is terrified. herO has won out on the mind games. Even though Trigger has a faster base, he's wasting resources here on defensive units, on defensive structures. Oracle does rock up across the map. Finally, Trigger does have eyes on the Nexus, but the Stalkers are able to force Trigger back. herO doesn't even waste resources on the shield battery. His Stalkers are enough. And Trigger canceled the Void Ray. So again, for those wondering, if you're up against a player going for one base all in, and if you go for this gate expand, then Void Rays are necessary to defend. But now that Trigger knows that his opponent is being more economic, he cancels the Void Ray. There's no other use for it. There is no need for it. And now he can get back into this. He's going to have to kill his Stargate as well, because we do have a full wall up. And herO, even though he had a later base, he's not that far behind in the economy. He's down, what, 1-2 probes he's going to be getting a faster third base, and this is a great way to catch back up economically and make up for your opponents having a faster nexus. May as well get a faster third instead. So far, really smart moves here from herO from the get-go. And Trigger is going to be getting into his own gateways as we speak. He's going to be delaying his third base. Yeah, +1 on the way. Blink as well. Trigger is going to be ahead in those upgrades. herO just now working on his own forge. Of course, he kind of delayed his upgrades for a faster base. herO, with constant hallucinated scouts, is keeping an eye on the army, keeping an eye on the tech. He was able to himself see the additional the additional forges. More gates are thrown down. Trigger is setting up for 2-base play. 2-base, 6-gate Blink Stalker from Trigger. Can herO hold on? Can he realize what's happening? He hasn't seen the additional gateways yet, but he keeps confirming, where's the third? There is none. He keeps checking time and time again whether or not a third base is thrown down, and because there is no third, there we go, more shield batteries. herO knows that his opponent is going for a 2-base all-in. He's getting ready back at home. He has enough information to tell him this. And he's getting ready for the assault. Pylon has finally been found. herO throws down his own robo to get into defensive immortals, I imagine. I love it. herO even setting up a proxy gateway across the map, so when the attack does come in, because he knows that an overcharge is going to buy him a lot of time, he can even go for like a depth harass across the map. Once again, herO checking the third. Checking the production. Meanwhile, Trigger has to make this work. Looking at the unit tab, Trigger, he has the upgrade advantage with +1. Trigger has the slight army advantage as well. He has 20 stalkers to now the 20 of herO. We're even in the stalker count. Trigger even working towards +2 and glaive at Eps. Here we go. The dance has begun. Trigger going to be poking, going to be prodding. And again, so far, herO shouldn't really be in any danger. He still has the overcharge, and there we go. Does force the overcharge to be popped. So far, Trigger losing one of his stalkers. herO not losing any. So we go for another warp, and again, this is just a battle of links. You can see Trigger gaining a little bit of ground here and there. Oh. Oof. Gets a couple of probes. But the longer this goes on, the better it is for herO. herO has a better economy. He can go for more warp-ins. He can go for a larger army. Trigger is trying to transition. It looks like he has recognized that he cannot break his opponent. That herO was able to recognize what was happening and prepare in time. As we do see Trigger dive into the main base. Glaives is now done, by the way. These adepts are going ham. A lot of probes are going down. herO not quite ready for this. Oof. And even though herO has had such an economic advantage throughout the entirety of this game, at 15, the entire mineral line goes down. The glaive adepts really working wonders, and at the same time, herO gets pulled out of position. A gas geyser goes down. A couple more probes as well at the third. Trigger is pulling herO apart. Blast a lot of zealots. Charge is about to kick in. Yeah, and Trigger has to give up this position. He's already done enough damage. Now it's his turn to defend. And herO eclipses Trigger's army right now. It's huge. herO, he's up on Stalkers. Oh, he's even on Stalkers. He's got 28 more zealots, though. Trigger has poked the bear. Solid force fields are going to try to create a bottleneck. But the Zealots are getting on top of the army. The Stalkers force their way in. Trigger still has +2 over the +1 of herO. We do force the overcharge, but herO has too much. He has the numbers. He takes down the shield battery. He has broken the third base. GG gets called. And herO takes game number 1. GG. Trigger did a lot of harassing damage with those adepts, don't get us wrong, but it did take a little bit too long for that to happen. By the time he crippled the economy of herO had already made use of his economy by warping in so many Stalkers, so many Zealots, getting ready for the counterattack, and Trigger just wasn't ready for it, did not have enough back at home. GG. GG, well played. A lot of that, of course, did also come down to the scouting. herO, even though he has a bit of a reputation about being really aggressive, and he is a really aggressive player, he's, you know, known for his micro, his control, herO was very, very on point when it came to his hallucinated scouts, constantly sending them out, constantly respecting his opponent, and keeping an eye on what Trigger was up to. As a result, the 2-base all-in really took a long time to get anything done. And now we're getting to game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk. Ooh. Down in this series 0-1, it is Trigger. Looking to bring it all back. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing CranKy Gaming. It is herO. One game away from advancing on into the next round. As a reminder, this is a best of 3. The group stage is full of only best of 3s, no best of 5s, unfortunately. As both players are going for mirrored builds. If you recall, in the last map, Trigger went for a gate expand, herO went for a double gate opener. Here on Gressvan, because there's no ramp coming into the natural, it is much more sensible for both players to go for these 2 gate openers. That's exactly what we're seeing from herO and Trigger. Meanwhile, Gressvan is a very popular map for one-base all-ins. We saw that in the last game. In the last series between herO versus Astra. We saw herO go for a proxy Stargate in between these steam vents. And these steam vents are very popular locations for proxies if a player decides to go for it. For the time being, though, Trigger is going for a probe scout. herO, likewise, going for his own probe scout as well. Just keeping an eye on things, and herO confirms the second pylon is in the main base. Trigger will also confirm the second pylon is in the main, so there is no proxy. Everything is looking normal for the time being. And we can see our initial units as well. We see Trigger going for a double Stalker. With this, he's going to have a much more dominating presence on the map. He's going to have a lot more control. His opponent, though, herO, is going for a Stalker and an Adept. So he wants to be a little bit more aggressive. He wants to try to slip a shade in if possible. Try to get some damage if possible as well. Or scouting. As we have both of our players diverge in their builds. We have herO going for a Stargate opener. Meanwhile, Trigger is going for a Twilight Council opener instead. As a result, Trigger should be able to get into a faster blink, or faster blink Stalkers. herO is more concerned with doing some economic damage here with these Oracles instead. So here we go. The Adept does bypass the initial Stalkers of Trigger. The Shade is looking to try and get across the map, but Trigger is able to... No, never mind. herO goes for the pylon block, which means herO has control of the ramp. He can cancel, and the Adept does slip on in. Adept gets into the main base across the map. Trigger trying to be aggressive. No, he does pull back with his Stalkers. Probes are going down. Only one additional probe here in the main goes down. Oh. And Trigger is not expanding. I mentioned earlier that one-base all-ins are very popular on Gressvan, and Trigger is going for it. Pylon is on the way. Gateway soon to follow, I imagine, as well. And it looks like a one-base 4-gate blink Stalker all-in. Fun fact, this is exactly what Astra did against herO. Astra's already herO's already defended against this once today. This is not the first time herO has faced off against this opener, and here we go. The Oracle is zooming across the map. The Oracle will confirm the lack of Nexus. So herO now knows that, oh, he's on notice. We have a shield battery on the low ground. We should be getting some more Stalkers. We have a Robo on the way for an Immortal. No shield battery in the main. Probes are falling left and right. Trigger, his economy is being crippled, and this is dangerous because because Trigger doesn't have much of an economy to begin with. He needs enough resources to actually make use of all 4 of his gateways. He needs to be able to afford, and he cancels this gateway. He doesn't believe. He cancels the gateway. He's gonna try and expand. He's gonna try and transition out of this. Was that it? Was that on purpose? was that cancel on purpose? I mean, he's still warping in, by the way. All right. It's gonna be slow warp-ins just because the gateway was canceled. Here we go. Does force the overcharge. Meanwhile, herO, he's got an Immortal already up and running. Trigger isn't expanding. Yeah, I think that may have been a mistake. Because even if you don't have the economy to sustain like 4 gateways, you still want to be able to reinforce faster, right? Like, regardless, we do see Trigger diving on forward. He is going to be able to focus down that first Immortal, but a second Immortal is waiting for him on top of this ramp. Aye. Trigger's being forced back. GG gets called, and herO will take game number 2, taking the series 2-0. GG. This is where I would love to probe Trigger's mind a little bit about that. I mean, even to be fair, even if that gateway had been powered, even if we had some faster reinforcements, losing so many probes like that, it means that it does take away a lot of the wind out of the sail of the all-inning player. And in a way, even though the Immortals did well for herO, the Oracle kind of won herO the game. It just, again, crippled the economy of Trigger. It made sure that he didn't really have much to work with his all-in, and yeah, GG, well played. Congratulations to herO, and my condolences to Trigger as he is knocked down to the lower bracket.